Hi everyone, it's John Exley, aka X. I am at National University of Singapore. This is Prince George Park Residences. This is where I stay, and just want to get you caught up, tell you a little quick story, and then I've got some really cool things I'm learning from the Biz 2010 Entrepreneurship Conference that I'll get to in a second. So over the weekend, I went to Thailand for the full moon party, and one of the most amazing weekends I've ever really had. It was really, really cool. A lot of fun times with really cool people, good friends of mine, and I took a lot of pictures and stuff. And on the way back to Singapore, I'm in the hotel Monday morning, I left my camera, so it was pretty devastating. I lost all my pictures, and they mean a lot to me, so it was tough to take, but I've kind of had to move on. And today I just, I couldn't take it anymore. I've been missing all this stuff going on at the conference that I'm at, so I bought a new camera today. And I was a Canon guy, got a Panasonic, the Lumix. It's got a pretty nice lens, nice camera, so I can start doing video stuff again and some pictures. But anyway, I'll move on, try to make this concise. The conference today was phenomenal. It's really, really cool. So it's kind of a student-run entrepreneurship conference, and there's these different chapters from all around Asia. So there's some from Peking University in Beijing. There's a school here from Taiwan, a few people from South Korea. There's a lot of students, obviously, from Singapore here, and there's one from France as well. So it's pretty cool. It's very diverse students, and then they're bringing in entrepreneurs locally from Singapore who also work in China to speak to us as panelists. And also we went to do some company visits. So today was fascinating. We went to see the corporate offices of Cisco, the Human Network, and it was really, really cool. They had their general manager of sales, I believe, in Singapore, gave us a presentation, and I asked him if he could compare and contrast business practices and entrepreneurship in Asia, specifically kind of China, Singapore area, to the U.S., to the West, really. And I thought it was pretty cool. I took some notes here about what he was saying, and he was talking about how in China, and I think this is kind of well known, that China, you have to build relationships first. They're very, very driven on relationships before they're going to make business decisions. And he said not just relationships like let's go get coffee, let's go to dinner. He said long, take time to develop a close relationship, and also that working with the government, so the government's not always clear. So the government might say, maybe or yes, and they really mean no. And so it's tough to read them, and he said you have to really get a lot of interpreters and different people involved when you're doing negotiations in China. And that one of the problems for Singapore working in China is that in Singapore it's very rules oriented, right? And that he said it's black and white, they're pretty clear, and also while they think they speak Chinese so they can immediately work in China, but he said the problem is that Singapore businessmen don't study the history, he said, of the Chinese language, just take the language. So there's some, he said, things lost in translation and misunderstandings when they're speaking to people in Chinese because there's things taken out of context and a historical perspective. So he said that can kind of hurt them. And also he said in India it's kind of funny because he said they will say yes and they mean no, because it's disrespectful in India to say no to your face. So he said you have to really balance all these different factors going on, and he said it's a little bit slower, and people are slower to really make decisions here in Asia as a whole. And then in the West it's very formal, very quick, very straightforward. Yes means yes, no means no, etc. So I'm pretty sure that was all my notes. Oh yeah, and then he also made a good point here. He said in Asia, in business, it's really about making money because of other people's inefficiencies. So there's a lot of inefficiency, he said, in Asia. Whereas in the West, it's pretty efficient. So just because you have something that's a little bit more efficient, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good business model, whereas that does kind of work here. So kind of a long blog, but that's what I'm learning so far. Some really cool stuff coming next week. I'm going to be interviewing a couple entrepreneurs here from Singapore, so can't wait. Having a blast. Got my camera back up, and I got to shout out my brother for life, CODY, HERRGESELL. Really miss him. He's doing some good things. He's starting to really focus on his grades, and he wants to go to school in South Carolina and start a fashion line. So he's starting to move into some of the business stuff as well. So miss everyone back home. See ya.